What's up, everyone? Welcome to the ASOTV podcast, brought to you by tvcaptive.com for Once Upon a Time in Wonderland, Season 1, Episode 10, Dirty Little Secrets by the All-American Rejects. I am your host, Tom. With me, I have my co-hosts, Rachel.
Hello.
Who just recently played the role of Jack.
Yeah.
That's her fairy tale character. Jack fell down and broke his crown.
Oh. Yeah. I can trip over flat surfaces like no one's business.
And down below, Omikins.
Yo.
I don't know who your fairy tale character is.
The one that has snarky retorts and can make boys go run in a room and hide and cry.
So, Paige from Pretty Little Liars. Perfect.
No.
No.
It's not fairy tale. She's... No. She's stupid.
Yeah, two could play that game. Yeah, so what did you guys think of this episode?
Oh my god.
I didn't fall asleep during this episode, if that's any indication of anything.
Ooh.
I thought
know.
it was good. Not as good as last week's, but it was good. I mean, a lot of backstory.
I actually preferred this one to last week's.
A lot of backstory on Cyrus, which was really awesome.
It was kind of
A lot of
needed.
backstory on most of them.
Yeah, I think all the characters had pretty decent backstory.
Except for Alice.
And Jafar.
Well, we already know.
But, yeah, and we still haven't... not that we really need... Do we need backstory on the Jabberwocky?
Okay. I know the Jabberwocky
Not would you like, do we need?
Well, I mean, maybe now that I know she's humanoid, because,
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't say anything. Obviously wasn't here last week. I don't remember if she was introduced, like, last episode. But
Yeah.
I always assumed the Jabberwocky was some sort of dragon. Or
like
dragon-like.
dragon type. Yeah.
Yes.
I brought
So
this up last week, and maybe you can remember, Umi, because I actually didn't have the time to go back and look, and I don't think Rachel did either. But we were discussing when Jafar was originally mentioning beasts that he could summon in episode 3, and they ended up getting the Bandersnatch instead, and that's the one that hunted Will and Alice down or whatever. Weren't they going through a book? Wasn't Jafar going through, like, a book? And wasn't the Jabberwocky in there as a beast?
The Jabberwocky was in there as a beast, and the Red Queen was like, no, that one, you don't want to do that one. That one's out of our league.
Right.
The Bandersnatch is better, and Alice has had history with it. So, of course, Jafar was like, okay, we'll take the Bandersnatch because, you know, Alice might be weak towards it, and I might get a wish out of the deal. Yay!
Yeah, because I was like, they had the Sarlacc in there from Star Wars reference.
Yeah.
And then they had the Jabberwocky and the Bandersnatch. I thought those were the three that were mentioned. But I remember the Jabberwocky to be a beast. So then they introduce it, and they all act like they've never even heard, like, Jafar's like, Jabberwocky? Like he was shocked. Like, he never even heard the name. Like, what is this? Where can I find this? And I thought he just had a book about it.
Well, he might not have done any research on it. Maybe she morphs. Maybe she... you never know. She seemed...
Yeah.
When she fell down when she got the sword, and now we know it's the Vorpal sword, taken out of her, she did that kind of reticulate thing with her back, and it was just kind of creepy. It was very reptilian type, movement.
Yeah.
And the way she goes about moving around is very reptile-like.
She's kind of slinky.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which is weird if she's not supposed to be that. If she's supposed to be humanoid, but if she has a beast form, why is she acting like a reptile?
Well, why was Maleficent pretending to be a fucking dragon at one point? I mean, seriously.
Dragon.
Nah, she was a human before a dragon, but then she decided she wanted to be a dragon to blow fucking green fire on people.
Yeah, but...
That was the best dragon ever.
Yeah. If you couldn't be a giant black dragon shot green fire out of your mouth,
Black
wouldn't
and
you?
purple dragon.
Yeah, whatever. Wouldn't you do that? I would.
Well, I mean, like, then why would the Jabberwocky want to be humanoid, or maybe she was humanoid, vice versa, like, either which way. Why would she want to go back to why would she want to be a weaker form if she started out as a dragon?
Well, as a humanoid, she could get around a lot easier.
Yeah, she's not very,
Not very,
Massive.
massive. She can manipulate people easier because she's down at
This
their
is true.
level and.
Well, I mean, you can manipulate people
Wisp.
too if you intimidate the fuck out of them. You can make them do
She
whatever you
intimidates the
want.
fuck out of them just by being there.
I think
Scaring
it's more.
people to literally to death.
Yeah, I think that's more of a magical touch though than anything. Because I mean, seriously, if that woman was breathing in my face, the only thing I'd be afraid of is what she ate for lunch.
Yeah.
Maybe she can't talk and drink.
Chili.
Anymore.
Chili. Spicy.
Yes. So yeah, we had a lot of backstory with Cyrus. Last week we found out that Cyrus's brothers are the other two genies.
Yes.
This kind of brings us into a paradox.
Yeah, kind of, because I mean we had well, I mean, I don't know because it really seems like, considering what the next episode is, I'm not going to get into that, but I mean, this timeline seems like it's before any of the Once Upon a Time stuff that's been going on, just because of these particular events.
Yes.
Because, Sydney White, right? That's his name.
Sydney Glass.
Sydney Glass.
Was it Glass?
Yes, it was Glass.
Okay.
From Once Upon a Time was a genie. So
he was the genie of Agrabah, to be more specific.
Yes, but I don't think there was a genie before these boys. I think they just became.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And they're always. I remember Sydney saying there always has to be a genie. So I mean, after they're done, because we know that they're going to get saved at one point.
Do we?
Obviously.
But maybe there's more than three, and as we'll hear,
I don't think so. They're saying the three genies.
Well, he
Not
only says
three genies. The three genies.
Said the three genies because Amara told him the three genies, and as we see down the line and in this, maybe because we found out. I mean, I don't know if we spoil it now.
I think if it pertains to what we're going to be talking about, yeah. I mean, go ahead.
I mean, Amara's their mother.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe she told Jafar that these three genies, because they disappeared. Maybe she was looking for them. Maybe she told
maybe she did.
And to trick Jafar into helping her find them.
And release them.
Maybe there is no power to him, just she wanted him to help her find these. And it didn't go the way she planned, obviously, because Jafar's very power hungry.
But here's the other thing. We've seen Jafar in the Enchanted Forest now.
Mm-hmm.
In background scenes like that. So if he's looking for the three genies, and he's not aware that there's more genies than these three, he thinks these three are the only ones. Do you think word would have gotten out that there was a genie in the Enchanted Forest? That the queen had?
No one.
Somebody would have spilled the beans?
No.
I don't
think so.
The thing is, I mean,
at the time when we see him in Enchanted Forest, she hadn't met Sydney yet.
And I'm gonna go blow through your theory real quick, Nikki, Umi, about the genies, or about it being in a different time.
It's just that's how it feels to me, anyways. Now,
the reason being is Alice specifically in this episode mentions that before she knew Silas was alive, that she was held up in an institution, and we know that institution was in Once Upon a Time Storybrooke.
Was it in? It was in Storybrooke. Okay.
I don't remember it saying it was in Storybrooke.
England.
Didn't they go?
No, it's in England.
Didn't they go into Storybrooke?
They go into Storybrooke next episode.
No. At the pilot episode, the very first episode, they went into Storybrooke. They were in there because of the diner. They were in.
Only the knave was, and then the rabbit came to get him.
Right, and then they went to get Alice. So this is all present day. No. It's all running currently.
I don't think the asylum was not in Storybrooke.
What happened was Will was in Storybrooke.
Right.
We know the rabbit can jump time, go to different places. We know that. The rabbit went to Storybrooke, could have been in the future, and said, come with me. We need to save Alice. Alice back in the past in England. They go back. They save Alice. They go back to Wonderland, and they start dealing with that shit.
Because
So,
if it was at the asylum in Storybrooke, there's no point in using the rabbit hole. They could have walked.
Yeah.
It's in a different realm.
No.
It is in a different realm.
It's not in Storybrooke, hon.
No, that's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm saying that Wonderland is in a different realm than Storybrooke and is in a different realm from the asylum. So they needed the rabbit to worm jump. They couldn't walk because it's in a different realm.
He's doing this with it. He's stretching. Just like he did with Starband.
Storybrooke.
No, that's a fact. None of those 3 places are in the same realm.
Well, yeah.
So they couldn't walk.
Storybrooke was
That's
created and
anything.
put into the real plane. Basically our present day, so to speak. Mm-hmm. Alice's present day is back in like the 1900s sometime. So I mean, there is a time jump there from Alice to Wonderland to Storybrooke. That whole deal going on.
Yes.
And the White Rabbit's kind of zigzagging to make things work for him or whoever he was working for at the time, which was the right
White Rabbit's a Time Lord.
Yes.
Plausible. Myth busted. Plausible. I don't know. Because I forgot that the time we were discussing whether or not the rabbit could time jump or not, and
I think he can.
Yeah, I think his portals do whatever he fucking wants.
So we know Will had left Wonderland.
Mm-hmm.
And was in present day Storybrooke.
Yeah.
And then he left to go into the past, into the asylum. So we don't know if they're in the past, present, or future in Wonderland. We don't know.
No, we don't. It's just kind of, it's like its own little...
It is its own little pocket.
Time bubble.
But we know that Cora is dead, right? Cora was killed off in Once Upon a Time. Next episode, she's alive.
Yeah, she's alive in Wonderland.
Yeah. So it does seem like it's in the past due to these recent situations that they're bringing up right now.
Very interesting. I guess we'll have to wait and see how this unfolds. But so the whole thing that started this in the first place. So Cyrus's brothers are genies, and he wants to free them, obviously. So we find out the whole reason they were cursed, and the whole thing was they were trying to help their mother out from dying, who was burned in a fire because Cyrus couldn't shut his mouth from being cocky playing poker. Sounds a lot like me. They go to this magical well, right? The Well of Wonders, which is kind of a play on the Cave of Wonders.
Yes.
Which I'm kind of disappointed we didn't get to see the Cave of Wonders.
I would like to see that too.
I don't know if they're excluding it from this series, if they replaced it with the Well of Wonders, if they're both 2 separate things that...
I think they're separate things, and say this series gets renewed for a 2nd season, we might be seeing Aladdin and Jasmine.
That'd be cool.
Agrabah's not going to be the last... Like, if this keeps going, it's not going to be the last time you've heard or seen of Agrabah.
Maybe Sydney's the genie in the Cave of Wonders.
Possibly.
I'm thinking maybe Sydney was... If this takes place in the past, so if this is true that Cora's back and she's not resurrected or anything weird like that, if Cora actually comes back and she's alive, meaning it's in the past, then maybe one of the genies, when they get freed, Sydney replaces them.
Possibly.
Possibly.
So, because I need to see Sydney's lamp now. I need to go back and look at that to find out if it was similar to one of their lamps.
I'm still on the notion that, mother's love. She wanted them back, and
one of their lamps. One of their lamps is an oil lamp. All 3 of their lamps are completely different. One is an oil lamp, but I'd have to actually match the 2 side by side and look to see if they are the same lamp or not. But so we get to meet this lady of the well, and she basically...
Who was thinking the ring?
Yeah, she had a very ring
so-
vibe to her.
I was so thinking the ring. She like the way she came out. I was like, okay,
Samara, no.
is my TV gonna flicker? Because this shit is crazy.
Don't watch the VHS tape.
No, don't.
So, she says that anybody who defies and steals the water will be cursed, and all this stuff.
Pay the price.
The one thing that I was very interested when they were describing the well, they said that the well, there is one in Agrabah, there is one in Wonderland, and basically there's one in every land.
Yeah, that.
So
the water runs underneath it.
Yeah. So did you guys see when they went into the Wonderland one, the Agrabah one as well? All had this like green awning, like this cap over the top of it, which we just saw in last week's regular Once Upon a Time, when they all went back, the whole cast, when they were meeting
Sleeping Beauty and Philip were having their picnic.
Oh my god,
they were at that well. So the Enchanted Forest has one of these wells as well. Well as well. It's like having saying you have good grammar and being pushed down a well. Yeah, so I don't know, like, do you think that's gonna tie in to regular Once Upon a Time now? Because we have the whole curses coming, they're doing flashbacks. They're doing a very Lost thing right now. Because Once Upon a Time season 1, 2, and we're on 4? Or are we still in 3? I don't know.
God.
I don't remember anymore. The first few seasons of Once Upon a Time was very different from Lost, where they were going from present day to
flashbacks.
It was kind of a flashback, but it felt more like an alternate universe because it was in another land. So it wasn't. Right. It didn't feel as much of a flashback as Lost was doing. But now it's getting more toward this is actually flashbacking. So, because we're going to have side-by-side stuff a lot deeper than we did the first few seasons. So, do you think this well is going to play some role into Once Upon a Time's main story now?
At this point in time, I don't think it is.
I don't know. It's interesting.
I mean, it's possible. It's interesting. I think it might in the future.
It's interesting that it is carried over, that the thought of the well is in the Enchanted Forest. I just don't know where they could go with it, being that the Wicked Witch is a pretty big plot point right now, and the well would be maybe a solution to...
I'm melting!
It almost seemed like that was the same well that was in Storybrooke as well.
Storybrooke was more of like, a well with a wishing well with cobblestone and, wooden braces and stuff. It didn't seem so magically.
More like in Snow White, the wishing well.
Yeah, the wishing well.
Yeah, but that one was dried up, I believe. I don't remember. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. If they're in all the realms, technically there should be one in Earth somewhere.
Never know.
So.
It's in Greece.
Athens, gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know, the Lady of the Well, when we met her, she seemed very, very interesting.
She just, it was like, there are laws, I am following them. I don't care what you have to say. You're cursed now. Sorry, buddy.
Yeah, so we find out she was the one that initiated the curse onto all of them, and this is when we learned for the first time that the genie's mothers are Amara. So,
which was really cool. I saw her.
I was like,
after the first bandage, just like, no way. Second bandage, I'm like, oh my god, no. They all come off. I'm like, yes.
It was something I never even thought about.
No.
Did not even think about.
I mean, we figured out the Sultan in the cage, but Amara, the burnt mother of
and the
genies.
Well, and the genies we missed too. Like, these genies have been under our nose from the beginning, and we didn't even stop to be like, maybe they're Cyrus's brothers. Like,
I know. Another thing I'm just totally kind of on Cyrus, when he was playing poker, whatever it was he was playing, he put down a golden compass.
Yes, that was interesting too.
And I'm like, he called it a golden compass.
Right.
And I'm like, are they going to somehow put that in there too?
Doesn't the
Golden
caterpillar have
compass. The golden.
caterpillar has the compass right now, doesn't he?
The golden compass. You're referring to
the book and the movie.
Yeah. I can't think of the name of that series right now.
I can't remember.
I think that as of right now, that compass
Narnia.
is the compass
Right?
is
Narnia?
no
No.
compass that this compass that he explained. The caterpillar has in his possession, but is known as the compass of lost things, not
which
the golden compass,
which is more similar to the Disney Pirates of the Caribbean with Jack Sparrow having the compass that'll point to the thing your heart most desires.
The compass does the same thing. It finds lost things, but I can't remember. I haven't watched that, read the book or read it in a long time.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
It's been a while.
But yeah, I found that a little interesting. I'm like, that's not what they called it before.
No.
Yeah, no, it seemed like they were pulling it more out of Pirates of the Caribbean than anything to me. Should be interesting to see Jack Sparrow show up in here somewhere.
Oh God.
Captain Balbosa.
I liked him.
Just seeing him in the background somewhere would be awesome.
Just like there's that one scene in The Little Mermaid where they're having like the concert or the coronation or something, and you see Goofy, Mickey, and Donald sitting in the crowd. It's like, what?
They do that with all their cartoons.
Mm-hmm.
I know, but it was crazy. It got pointed out, I'm like, what? And this is far before, Sora ever got involved and that whole deal started.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
I'd love to see them throw Kingdom Hearts into Once Upon a Time. Oh my God, Once Upon a Time needs Kingdom Hearts right now. Do it.
So
look what I started.
So, this pretty much, like they set up the Amara story very early on, and Jafar has Amara as his magical staff.
Yeah.
So now this is turned into a Alice is going to save Cyrus mission to a Cyrus is going to save his entire family mission. So he's after Jafar for every reason under the book. He's got his brothers and Will, and he has his mother.
But he doesn't know.
He doesn't know that Jafar has his mother.
Right.
But as soon as he finds out, he's going to go apeshit.
But also, I mean, if they have to give back the water, does she have to be in human form, or could they just throw the staff in?
I'm pretty sure they just throw the staff in, and it's problem solved.
They throw it in like the Power Rangers, Rita Repulsa. Just
I don't know. But I mean,
remember when she used to throw her staff down to earth?
I did.
Make this monster growl.
But yeah, never watched the Power Rangers either. That just made Dawn a little sad there.
Yeah, I just died a little on the inside.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, so, the Red Queen, what's her name?
Anastasia. Which they did talk about a little bit when they brought it up that she is a sister of someone who married a prince. So
stepsister.
Did it say stepsister? I just heard sister.
Yes, it said stepsister.
She is.
You believe that? Yeah, you believe that if the prince would have chose you instead of your stepsister, your mother would have loved you more.
There you go. So Anastasia is Cinderella's sister.
We've already seen Anastasia in Once Upon a Time, though, and it was not her.
I don't care. They said this Anastasia.
Now he's gotta look it up.
No, I know for a fact that she is a completely different character in Once Upon a Time.
Well, maybe they just
Kitty.
She's mad because she knows I'm right. No, but I'm just saying maybe it was a second thought, and they're like, wait a minute, we can bring her in as the Red Queen, but maybe that actress wasn't available.
It could be. It was in season 1. It was in episode 4. And Can't find it. But the two of them were standing at the end of the episode. You saw her stepsisters.
It is very possible that, yes, the actress was not available that was playing Anastasia to begin with, so they got
someone new.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see. This is the part that's starting to irritate me with this series, is they're like backpedaling on stuff, because if they're not gonna explain Sydney being the genie, if they're just gonna ignore that, and because this whole thing, like like I said, they're saying the genies, and unless they explain that there's more genies or that these genies and they show Sydney at the end, like that's gonna irritate me, because they went to the lengths of saying that they're not going to replace the Mad Hatter because they want to keep their characters the same.
He had a bigger role in Once Upon a Time than these stepsisters did.
That doesn't matter to me.
They had a flash on the screen.
No, I'm saying to me. You could justify it any way you want.
Showing their butt.
You could justify it any way you want, but when they switch any characters out, that starts irritating me. Like they need, like, if they can't keep somebody to coordinate all this information and they start changing backstories and things like that, and different characters are not who they said they were originally, then that starts to irritate me. And if you don't have, I forget what the continuity, if you don't have a continuity person that can keep track and be like, oh, we already had a stepsister, like, and then you're gonna retcon it, that starts irritating me, and then I start getting mad. So yeah, anyway, so that seems like the direction they're leaning. I'll give you that. They did have a different character that was already said to be the stepsister. Do you guys know what the stepsisters were called?
Anastasia and Drusilla.
Yep.
Drusilla, that was the other one?
Drusilla.
How do you spell Drusilla?
Fuck if I know. It says right there, Drizella.
What?
Drizella.
Yeah. Drusilla
Tremaine.
Drusilla Tremaine, Once Upon a Time. Carriage is seen parked outside the private property. Passengers, 3 fairly unattractive women making their way.
Oh, there's Anastasia right there.
Towards it.
But is that, like, are they as little kids, or are they?
No.
That's Drusilla, I'm guessing.
They're all 3 of them. I'll pull this picture up for everybody.
There was just like a little link down there. No, you know what? I'm gonna look it up myself because you're doing something. I'm gonna do something.
I can't. The link where?
On the wiki, it had like an actual picture of Anastasia.
Oh, Anastasia Tremaine. Here it is. That's her.
Yeah, I see. You can barely see her.
Yeah,
but she looks nothing. She looks nothing like.
Yeah.
No,
I can't save this picture.
No,
see that picture. Anastasia has no lips.
Yeah, that's
the whole thing.
Okay, here it is. This is Anastasia that was shown in that episode. For those of you that are like, what are we talking about here? That's her.
In that they did. They were. It looks like they were going more towards the actual Disney Anastasia and Drusilla. You know what I mean? The redhead and the brown hair.
Yeah, they're kind of going on the ugly spectrum because they weren't exactly nice looking.
Right. Yeah. So.
But this might be their way of tying in.
Yeah.
You know.
Right. That's just like I said. That's the kind of stuff that bothers me.
It happens sometimes.
Yeah. No, I know, but it just makes me mad because they could have easily just not done that, knowing if they couldn't have gotten the actress, instead of like retconning something they've already established in there.
Well, there is a thing where they just couldn't get the actress, or the actress was uninterested, or
then they
whatever.
Don't have to make,
maybe that was the.
Then they don't have to make.
That was the basis of their story, and then after that, they didn't have shit.
Then they don't have to make Anastasia in this series Cinderella's thing. They could just cut that part out. Then that's the simple of it, and they didn't ruin anything.
That would make the whole story fall apart.
Maybe.
No, it wouldn't.
Maybe there is a tie-in.
Writers.
Maybe there is a tie-in.
There's not.
You are not the writers.
I am.
No. No.
So, yeah, no. I'm very disappointed.
The writer, make them all wear Power Ranger jumpsuits.
I would. I'm very disappointed with their choice if that's what they're doing. So I'm hating Wonderland more and more now. So we get to the door. We get to meet the riddle door. Now this is something that's been in many tellings of Alice in Wonderland, puzzles, riddles, things like that.
Of course.
I believe it was very similar. It was a 2-door puzzle, and the doormaster, he would lie. That was his puzzle, like, you know that, and their goal was to try to figure out that he was lying, and he would only answer in yes and no. So they stayed very true to that, but obviously there wasn't any magical well on the other side of the door. I believe one of them was it the exit to Wonderland in the book? I don't remember.
Oh God, it's been years.
It was wasn't it in the Looking Glass? I thought actually it wasn't in Alice in Wonderland. I thought it was in Through the Looking Glass.
And this is where, you know, Miss Cleo would be like, "Oh, I know,
Right. So,
it makes me want to go back and read these books again.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, I just read them like 3-4 years ago, and I can't even remember right now. Because I read them both like back to back, like within a few days of each other, so they all blended together.
I mean, this part reminded me also of like the Labyrinth. You know, they had the one door tells the truth and one tells always lies.
Yeah, Labyrinth had a very similar thing, but it was 2 people, and which made it a lot more difficult to figure out.
Difficult, yes.
The Labyrinth with David Bowie.
Yes, who's your favorite person in the whole world?
Oh God.
Was it the Labyrinth or was it
Pan's
Labyrinth?
Nope, it was the Labyrinth.
No, I remember David being in later with the headhunters, and I really disliked that movie. My favorite part of that movie,
Pan's Labyrinth had something very similar too.
Is the owl. The owl is my favorite, even though it's horrible CGI.
Yeah. So, this is where Alice sneaks in. She was the one that figured out the riddle, and Cyrus was kind of shocked. Like, he's so used to brute forcing things with magic and whatever. And
he really is.
Yeah. So she figured it out, but then he wanted her to stay behind. Instead of sharing the truth with her, he wanted to keep it. Why do you think he decided to keep this from Alice?
It would make him seem weaker. He doesn't want, you know, he doesn't want Alice to know his bad side, like his past. His past was pretty, you know, he was kind of skeeshy. He was a cheater. He was kind of an arrogant ass, and he didn't want Alice to know about that side of him.
I think the same thing you do, but he started acting a little more like
his old self.
His old self, like human.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? More human-like than he has been.
Yeah.
And
I noticed
where is that going to leave? Where is that going to leave Alice? Because if he goes back, because she fell in love with the genie, she didn't really fall in love with.
Well, there was that
Cyrus.
There was that scene where he kind of, you know, said that he didn't want to, like, that whole part was kind of embarrassing to him. He was ashamed of it. And I think he expressed to her that he thought he was going to go back to that. And she's like, "Don't worry. I'm here. I'm your bottle. I'm going to keep you grounded." Basically, you know, saying that. But I mean, like, she hasn't exactly been herself lately either. So, I don't know.
Yeah. That's kind of that one thing. It's like, where's it going to leave them? Now that she fell in love with the genie, and it's like almost like they're 2 different people.
Yeah.
Because all those years of him serving other people, and now he's out, and he's like, I don't have to do what other people say anymore. I can do what I want, have my own free will now, and, you know. Yeah. Who knows? Who knows where that's going to lead and how it's going to end up?
I don't know. Don't know. Yeah, but she not only did she keep this from him, like, or he kept this from her just recently. Like, this is something that he's never told her. Like, she's like, "You never told me." He's like, "Oh, I didn't." Like, he played dumb. Like, he felt like he did all the time. So he's not a very good liar.
No. I think
he got away with it once.
I think he's scared that if she finds the truth, that she'll leave him.
Yeah, that's just dumb.
That's just...
It is.
Everything is dumb.
No.
The show should be called Dom Thinks Everything is Dumb.
No, but it is. Like, you see to the ends of the earth that Alice is gone for him. At this stage, she's not going to care what he did 10,000 years ago.
He's still
insecure.
Mhm.
Insecure. That's all. I mean,
he hasn't been on his own in hundreds of years.
Basically, hundreds of years. He's been a genie. He hasn't been human. He probably didn't really have insecurities because he could just wish them away, basically.
He didn't have friends. He didn't have to trust people. He didn't have, he just did his job, went back in the bottle, waited for someone else.
So basically, it's kind of like carrying on from his human life before. And that's why we're kind of agreeing where he's kind of taking back some of his old traits because he's human again.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess. He's still dumb.
Gotcha.
I love that you just went on like a good 2-minute justification. You gave very well detailed bullet points and justified all and I'm just nope, he's dumb. Dumb.
He's a dumb man.
So then we get the Jabberwocky or the Jabberwocky basically is locked in a cage with the Red Queen and Will. And something that I said last episode, the Will just blurts out. I go, why doesn't she use her first wish to get Jafar out of Wonderland?
Yeah, but he shuts her up, so that can't happen.
Right. But I was just like, I had this moment when Will said that, I was like, fucking yes! Like, I was like, thank you. Thank you. I'm not the, if they didn't even consider that at some point, I was like, they've got to be idiots.
You and Will should go out for some beer together. You seem like good buds.
Let me know when you do this.
I don't know if I want to go to the bottom of his bottle.
Oh boy.
No comment.
As he specifically stated in this episode, there's no bathrooms in there. So he says that Jafar waves his magic staff and starts choking him or whatever, and then Anastasia goes to spit that out of her mouth and she gets the Ariel treatment and she can't talk anymore. And then the Jabberwocky starts laying into her, poking, prodding into her brain, and almost seems to get to the point of mind control, where whatever she's saying, Anastasia's
really has
repeating.
A silver tongue.
Yeah, so it's not so much that she's threatening Anastasia, but she's literally making the decision for her.
She's mind-bending her.
Did you expect her to break free of this compulsion? Or
she was trying. You could
she really was trying.
She was trying.
It was killing her inside that she was having to say this stuff and she didn't really want to. So it really was out of her hands when it came to actually making those wishes.
Yeah. And then she went through all 3 wishes like it was nothing. Alice held on to her wishes for how many years?
Well, she didn't have the Jabberwocky making blood come out of her ear either.
This is true.
Yeah.
But I don't know. She went through.
That was tough.
She went through all 3 wishes really fast. So yeah, no, it definitely was tough. But I was just surprised. We were talking. How long is this going to go on for? How long is she going to keep these wishes? She let them all out in the span of 2 minutes.
The thing is, her last wish, her 3rd wish, was pretty general, and unless she put a lot of thought behind it, and it kind of telekinetically got through to her genie. I don't think what she said is what she meant. And they just oh, she said it, let's go. It was her 3rd wish, but it might not have been the wish that they thought it was. And this is where, that's why the whole cliffhanger at the end with Jafar happened. Because we really don't know what she actually wished for.
That too, and if this is having the 3 genies, makes it does the most powerful whatever magic, but now that Will's in the bottle and not the other brother, would it still work?
It's true.
I think it would. I think he's harnessing the power and not the blood curse behind it.
But I still think Amara was playing mind tricks with Jafar to have him help her find these 3 bottles
to find
her son. To find her son.
I seriously think she's been sitting in staff form being like, oh, he's doing all the dirty work. I'm just going to sit here and watch. And when it comes to time, she sees she's obviously looking at the table. He placed her there. As she sees the bottles, she's going to be like, all right, I'm out. Hey, Jafar, what's up?
Yeah, something's going to happen. Because
Yeah.
I don't know. I just think the mother, I mean, she loved her son so much that she would do anything to find them.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So this could very well be.
I'm actually reading something real quick. I was going while you guys were off on the tangent. Somebody had pointed out in a discussion on the actual Once Upon a Time wiki. They said, so Jafar's after the last of the three genies. We saw his little stash of bottles, lamps, whatever there was the big one he got from the guy who spent his last wish on Jafar not being able to hurt him. There was an empty space for Cyrus's bottle lamp, and to the left there appeared to be Sydney's bottle lamp. Does anybody notice that? So it appears that one of them is Sydney's lamp. Whether or not this takes place past, present, future, we don't know.
I don't know. I'd have to personally go back and look for that myself, because I really don't think that Sydney has anything to do with Wonderland at this point. I think that's just, far-fetched, glancing.
Yeah, and somebody's saying 3 wishes used and Sydney was set free, so he's no longer bound to the bottle.
So it's a
while that
thing.
may be true, if that is true, then that still butchers the story, because the way they told these were the 3 first genies, and if they start putting another genie in that came before it, and I don't know, it's very.
I still think I agree with you, me. I think he comes after.
Yeah, if he does, I'll totally accept that. That seems completely probable. It's logical. It's the most logical thing. And if they do that, they won't have ruined their own story.
Yeah.
But if they try to make it out, if they try to explain it some way that Sydney came first and all, I'm throwing my hands up.
Yeah, story-wise, it doesn't make any sense.
No.
Yeah. So the last we kind of see, Jafar's doing his little spell and all that. We don't know if it's going to work. We don't know if it's not. But it also kind of seemed like the Jabberwocky was planning on defying him.
It seems like that'd be in her character to do that.
Yeah.
He's kind of an asshole to her, and she's like, I ain't going to take your... It's true, but she's the kind of girl that's going to be like, you know what? Right now, I ain't taking your shit. I'm going to do something about it right now.
She might be planning on getting the vocal sword, because that's the only thing that can...
There's that, and, that would stop him from doing whatever he needs to do, because it would be kind of a fight. So,
I'm totally loving this Jabberwocky chick.
I mean, I was really surprised when a human fell off that wall, and a human was, revealed to be the Jabberwocky, because I had a completely different image in mind because of all the previous Jabberwockies I've ever seen.
No.
And when they showed her, I was like, this is interesting. I like this.
I like the actress that plays her. I don't know who she is, but and then the way she plays her is amazing. And you really want to watch her the whole entire time. You want her to just be on the screen the whole entire time.
So Jafar now has all 3 lamps in his possession. Does that mean he gets 9 wishes?
No, he's just going to combine the power of them all to get what he wants. So that he hopes there's no consequences.
So
I'm not falling into that trap.
Either no consequences or the possibility that he can break the rules of magic.
Well, that would be breaking the rules of magic, not having consequence.
Not necessarily. I mean, more along the lines of doing things that you typically couldn't do with a single genie, like be able to make somebody fall in love, like one of the 3
bring back his
rules. Yeah.
Well, that was something we actually toyed with before. In the very beginning, when we started doing the podcast for the show, was we thought he was doing this stuff to bring back his mom. But I mean, that might be something in the back of his mind. But he's really power hungry, and even in the background, like the stories of Jafar and others in other tellings, he is very power hungry.
Well, I mean, he also still has his father alive. Maybe. Just maybe, if this does happen, the power, power to go back into time and to change little Jafar's future and become Sultan himself. Because that was his goal the whole entire time, is to become Sultan.
Right.
To be sat on that throne. So that's another possibility.
There's
so many possibilities when it comes to genies.
And it's really not just genies, it's these writers.
Mm-hmm. You got the writers from Lost. What do you expect?
Exactly. The writers from Lost. We can't speculate really anything because we don't know what they're gonna pull out of their magical hat.
Right.
Nope. Not at all.
Yeah, I was looking quick to see if the actor that played Sydney, which is Giancarlo Esposito, if he had any, like, if anybody had mentioned that he was going to be in Wonderland at all, and
doesn't look like it.
There's no mention of it. Like, he hasn't been on Once Upon a Time in quite a few times now. He's only been in 10 episodes of that, but he's currently in the TV series Revolution. So he's kind of occupied, but if they were to do like a little minor thing, like, they could probably fit him into one episode. So we may have a guest appearance, but there's no official word on it yet.
Yeah.
So next episode is called Heart of the Matter. Cyrus and Alice uncover alarming information that the Knave must surrender information to Jafar in order to help the Red Queen. Alice and Cyrus go to Storybrooke, and Cora returns to lend a hand. So we hopefully will have most of our questions answered now. Because
it seems like there would be a lot of questions answered next episode.
If Alice and Cyrus are going to Storybrooke, they should answer the time thing.
It should answer the time thing.
So we'll find out if they're traveling to the past, if they're going to the present. Well, they should answer that. If they're doing that, they're going to have to explain it. So, yeah. So we're going to see.
Quite interesting.
We're assuming that they get to Storybrooke through the White Rabbit.
Of course.
That's how they got there in the first place. So
yeah.
So it says that Cora lends a hand. Now, is she also going to be in Storybrooke? Or is she in Wonderland? We don't know where she is.
No, she's returning to Wonderland as the Queen of Hearts to lend a hand.
Okay. And I wonder what information that the Knave has to bring to Jafar. Can't even begin to imagine what that could be.
Who knows?
I don't know, but I'm interested about that one quote in the promo.
Someone will die?
Someone will die.
Cora.
Amara.
Amara, maybe. I mean, they could be being, tricking me. Like, someone will die.
R.I.P.
Oh, God. Please, well done,
R.I.P. Lizard.
Yeah, that
she had
was
her
horrible.
eyes gouged
that was
out.
horrible. I don't want to even talk about that one.
Yeah. I mean,
she
first
had her eyes gouged out. They were on lollipop sticks.
Gosh.
No, that was just her freaking retina nerves or whatever.
They were on lollipop
Oculus
sticks.
nerves.
I totally wanted to lick her eyeballs.
Oh, God.
You're dumb.
No, that would be Cyrus.
You're dumb.
I am Dom. Thank you.
Dumb.
Yes, Dom.
You're dumb.
Dom.
Dumb.
I'm a Pokemon that only says my name. Dom. Dom. Yeah, so I'm actually looking extremely forward to this week's episode.
It sounds interesting.
Yeah, so how many episodes do we have for Wonderland? Are we wrapping up here shortly, or we have what?
I think so.
What did we count last week? We counted there was 4 more episodes?
13 episodes total. This was episode 10, so 3 more?
Yeah, last week we said there's 4 more, so yeah.
Yeah. And we're still not sure about, it being renewed, right?
No word.
So
it's not looking good. It's not looking promising, but...
Not looking good.
But it has not been confirmed
yet.
We know that Cora will be in at least 1 episode, but we don't know if she will be returning past this episode.
Yeah.
So.
I hope they do renew it. It'd be really sad.
It's like there's a lot of series right now where the first season is kind of meh, but then even like in the past, the first season was kind of meh, and then the second season shoots up, and it's just like so amazing.
Well,
And
even
I
before
have a,
this,
I have a
even
feeling it's gonna be like this for this show. It's gonna next season is gonna be crazy awesome, but they're not gonna give it a chance. Maybe it's kind of like.
Well, I mean, before the break, it was and then when it came back, it was like,
yeah,
holy shit.
We've seen 3 spin-offs launch this year.
Yes, we have.
We've seen Pretty Little Liars had Ravenswood. We've had The Vampire Diaries had the originals, and we had Once Upon a Time had Wonderland. Out of those, one is doing really well, which is the originals. They were already renewed for a second season. We had one that's floating, hanging by the skin of its teeth, which is Wonderland. And we had one that flopped so hard that they canceled it, 10 episodes. So, which was Ravenswood. So, we definitely know there's more spin-offs coming. It seems like that's the new thing to do, is spin things off. So, I don't know if they're going to dismiss Wonderland. So, they know where their mistake was. They said that their original intention was to air this during the break between the fall and winter seasons. And they didn't do that, which it would have been an even shorter series. I don't think it would have been a 13-episode arc. It probably would have been a 10, maybe shorter arc.
It might have been too squished, too.
Yeah, but I don't know. There's kind of a lot of side tangents that they didn't need to go on here. As well, so they could have just eliminated some of it or carried it over into subsequent seasons. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. Like I see it's ABC. ABC, especially their fairy tale franchises, being Disney and all, they're gonna want to try to make it work. So I think they're gonna reluctantly push it into a second season. I think they're fighting it right now. That's what I think the big holdup is.
Fight hard.
Yeah.
Yes. But, I just hope they don't do what they do with most series that don't do real well the first season, then the second season, is they float it around to different times, different days to see what works, and then you never get to find it, and it loses all its viewers.
It's never consistent, and then you just lose interest, even if it is an interesting show.
Right.
Because you can't find it consistently at the same time, but on a different day or a different day or time, and I hate when they do that.
Yeah, they did that with I think it was the fourth or fifth season of Supernatural, and that's when I stopped watching for a good time because I just I couldn't keep
they were throwing it all over the place.
They were Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, back to Thursday. It just I was all over the place. So I was like, no, I'm done with that.
Didn't they just recently do that with a show on the CW too? Was it Beauty and the Beast? I want to say.
I think so.
They moved around, and that show has been canceled after 2 seasons. So.
When they do that, television stations, I know they're trying to find a good fit, but when they do that to shows, it screws the show.
It does. It does. I mean, the viewers do lose interest.
See, I think the show would do a lot better if they aired it either the same time slot as Once Upon a Time during its off things, whatever, or if they were going to keep it a more longer thing to run it leading in or following Once Upon a Time.
Well, they can't do it following because Revenge comes right after.
Who cares about Revenge?
It's a really good show.
It's dumb.
I watch it. You're dumb.
It's as dumb as Cyrus.
You're dumber than Cyrus.
Cockatoo is more intelligent than you.
Oh, now that I know that joke, it's just ridiculous.
It's an inside joke that very few people are on the inside. So, yes. Rachel, where can the people find you?
Well, since you did put down our nice little lower thirds,
those aren't
you can find me at Twitter at Savannah17, SEVANNA 17.
So
you give her hers. You're dumb.
Omikins, where can the people find you?
Okay, they can find me on Twitter at LadyVenom24, LadyVenom24.
Oh, The people can find me.
Oh, you need to
No
act
more Girl
fast.
Scout cookies for you, mister.
Where'd it
You
go?
didn't send me any.
I asked, you did.
There it is.
Respond.
You can find me
Oh,
down below
really?
at Phenomenon, PHENOMEDOM.
You said you had to talk to Mike first.
Oh yeah. I probably asked him, and then he told me to tell him later, and then I forgot.
Mhm.
And then he forgot. So we
Dom's
both
not
forgot.
kidding anymore, anyways.
I'm in the doghouse.
And you don't get to go to Denny's from BlizzCon.
That's horrible.
I go to Denny's whenever I want.
You don't get to order chicken nuggets. There's chicken strips, whatever it is.
So, where else are we found?
I don't care.
We're found on Facebook and Twitter, and Google Plus, and
Are we?
YouTube,
Dumb.
and Gmail. and
Gmail? We're on Gmail?
Yeah.
What are we doing on Gmail?
We apparently we're getting emails, right? Right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. At ASOTV podcast. And then stuff.
And stuff and things.
And once upon a time in Dumbland.
Yeah, it's dumb.
Dumbland.
It's just dumb.
Because Cyrus is there, so it's dumb. It's dumber than dumb.
Dumber than Dom.
Wow.